All right, Hearties. It feels so good to say that word Hearties yet again because 'tis the season 9 of When Calls the Heart is about to kick off. So to celebrate, we're going to welcome you on in, get comfortable. You guys know these familiar faces. We're going to do a live event celebrating season 9 of When Calls the Heart. Of course, I'm Deidre Behar from Entertainment Tonight, and it is such an honor for me to be here with some of my favorite humans on the planet, some of the cast of When Calls the Heart. So please help me welcome Erin Krakow. We've got Jack Wagner, Pascale Hutton, Andrea Brooks, Kavan Smith, and a freshly shaven Chris McNally.
Can we not talk? Everyone's been quiet. Hi, I'm Chris.
I want to applaud for everybody. I think we get a round of applause.
It is so nice to see your faces. Of course, we are going to talk all things Season 9 of When Calls the Heart ahead of the big Season 9 premiere this Sunday, March 6th, 8 p.m. on Hallmark Channel. But first, just like Chris, you just said you wanted to talk and say hi. How's everyone feeling?
Well, I just noticed that everyone was kind of miming, and I wasn't sure if we were supposed to do that or if I could say something.
You didn't get the memo? We were not supposed to talk.
No, it's a mime beginning. A mime.
I was looking forward to a mimed interview. I think it would be easier for me.
You do well in a mimed interview.
I will.
Hearties, I hope you're taking gifts of all of that beautiful miming work that we just saw here. I don't want to waste another minute. I want to get right into it. You know, season 9, the build-up, the anticipation. It's so exciting. Erin and Chris, my first couple questions are going to be for the two of you. You know, season 8 ended on such a high note. We have Elizabeth and Lucas together. We had that huge moment on the bridge, the huge celebration in the library. Where are things, Erin, going to pick up when season 9 starts as this courtship starts to really blossom and unfold?
Well, it isn't immediately following our season 8 finale, but it's not too far after. So time in Hope Valley is a little fluid, but we'll say this is like a couple months after season 8 ended. Elizabeth has gone to Hamilton. She's coming back to Hope Valley, and there's like a very loving, lovely reunion with Lucas. And things are just in a really good, promising place. They're excited to spend more time together as a couple.
And Chris, how are you feeling now that, you know, the secret is out there in the world? We know that Elizabeth and Lucas are together, and they're going to, you know, go on this romantic journey in season 9. How are you feeling?
I'm excited to watch it because I as always, I don't remember exactly what we did. So I kind of watch it and I get to follow along. I'm like, this is a great story. I like this show.
You like this show. That's a good sign. You know, I think a big tenet of Lucas Bouchard culture is the grand gesture. We've seen so many of them, and in some of the teases that we've seen leading up to season 9, you know, there's this hot air balloon moment that looks pretty major. Erin, can you tell me, like, are grand gestures going to continue throughout season 9? Are we going to continue seeing like big public displays of affection between the two?
I mean, there are some, but I think this season more than ever, Elizabeth is trying to impart on Lucas the importance of the little things and the little moments, and that sometimes those are just as magical as the grand romantic gestures. So we're going to find a lot of sweet moments this season in the little things.
Okay, now Chris, how does Lucas feel about being told to, I don't know, it sounds like he's being told to reel it in a bit, maybe reframe his approach to romance here?
I think that we all can learn and evolve in our lives. So if Lucas needs to learn that not all gestures need to be grand, I think that's something he can tackle and approach. So.
Okay. Well, look, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I'm such a sucker for romance, and I'm really a sucker for Elizabeth's happiness at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And seeing how happy she is at the end of season 8 and obviously leading through season 9. I mean, are we going to exchange I love yous? Could there be a proposal in season
9? Anything is possible in Hope Valley. Certainly wouldn't want to give any of that away, but yeah. But yeah, anything is possible in Hope Valley. There's always a bit of romantic magic, so you'll have to stay tuned.
Chris, let me ask you, I know you obviously can't tell us any explicit details, but like, are they on the track towards a pretty serious romance here? that could end in a proposal?
Well, trying my best to remember.
You thought he was squirming earlier.
I know.
Now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this presents an opportunity for Elizabeth and Lucas to really, truly court and get to know one another, because in the previous seasons we've seen a triangle happening, and so it wasn't, a concrete thing. And so once we've established that, and then they start to explore it in 9. And to be honest, I can't remember what the question was.
By the way, you mentioned the triangle, and I feel like I need to say, because I'm sure there are people watching like, where's Kevin? So Kevin sent this picture. He's busy somewhere snowy, but he's gonna do one of these interviews with you soon, I'm sure.
Yes, that's actually a great thing to announce, that plenty of your favorite faces, that you're already familiar with on When Calls the Heart, and also some new faces that are coming to Hope Valley. We'll be doing multiple conversations throughout the season, leading up to the sure to be epic season 9 finale. So everybody stay tuned for that. I mean, Chris, I'll leave you one more time. Are Elizabeth and Lucas on the track to getting real serious with their romance?
It's all coming back to me now.
Just
I recall the question.
And is there a proposal? Is there a proposal?
I can't say one way or another. However, there's some exploring, some learning, and some pushing of boundaries, perhaps, and getting down to brass tacks.
What are you talking about?
That sounds so romantic.
He forgot the question again, obviously.
I was going to say, Pascale, I really appreciate the assist there. I know that you're a journalist too. Rosemary is running the Valley Voice, and she's a woman chasing a story, much like I am.
Yeah, we needed to try and get him back on track. He eluded us once again, but
Yep.
Yeah, that's romance, like getting down to brass tacks. We will stay tuned. Erin, it's hilarious. You show us that wonderful photo of Kevin McGarry, who we all love and adore so much. It's a beautiful segue into talking a little bit about Nathan. Obviously there's so many fans who are concerned with his happiness and want to see him thriving in season 9. How are things going to pick up when Nathan, really kind of encounters Lucas and Elizabeth as a couple?
Well, it's a really interesting dynamic to see these friendships kind of grow. They might start a bit awkward at the beginning of season 9, but I actually really love the friendship that Elizabeth and Nathan are working on, and that Lucas and Nathan are working on. And I think you'll find that, like, anyone who was or is Team Nathan, there are a lot of fantastic stories that Kevin is going to get to play this season. Really fun stuff. And the best way you can support your favorite character is by watching him.
Team Hope Valley. Team Hope Valley.
Team
right?
Hope Valley.
Chris, how do you feel about Lucas and Nathan's, friendship bond? Is it a friendship at this point? How are they going into season 9?
I wouldn't say that they're friends off the top, but they have kind of a brotherly relationship where you don't always get along, but there's something there. And so they actually have a fun journey this season. And I enjoyed working with Kevin. I like where they leave off. I feel like there was the possibility, they're not by any means best friends this season, but we get to enter a new phase of this dynamic that we haven't seen before.
All right, room to grow.
Yeah.
And I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to get to see a lot of little Jack this season. He's just such a cutie, that Highland Goodrich, and seeing the small clips that I have so far. Erin, what is in store for little Jack this season, and how much are we going to see of little Jack, Elizabeth, and Lucas together?
We're so excited that Highland joined us this season. He's really something special. I think the Hardys are going to love him. And we got to do a lot more scenes with little Jack, especially, Chris can speak to this. Lucas and little Jack get to spend some real bonding time together, and it's super heartwarming for Elizabeth, but really fun to get to have that family time.
Yeah, Chris, do you think Lucas is really leaning into the, without disrespecting his father, but really kind of stepping up and being a father figure to little Jack?
Very much so. Yeah. I think that Lucas might see a lot of himself in little Jack, and he doesn't want to overstep any lines and take over any kind of job, but so he's gradually sort of building that relationship and building that trust and seeing where it is or where it goes. But he has so much love for little Jack, and we had many opportunities to explore that this season. And Highland, who plays little Jack now, is phenomenal. He's just a great spirit with a really infectious kind of energy and laugh. Aww. And so we had an awesome time. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see all of that unfold. Speaking of amazing energy, I immediately think of Rosemary and Lee. Kavan and Pascale, I want to go to the two of you. It has been such a joy seeing Rosemary and Lee, not only their beautiful romance and marriage, but really leaning into their careers. We already give a little hat tip to the Valley Voice, one of my favorite publications. And we know Kavan, that Lee is stepping up and he wants to be the mayor of Hope Valley. So Pascale, why don't we start with you? Tell me a little bit about where we find Rosemary in season 9. Is she like really a woman on a mission?
Yes. Is she ever not a woman on a mission?
No, that is so true.
Yeah, just plug in a new mission and she's ready to go. But yes, she's very revved up. She's very revved up at the beginning of the season. She's got a mission. She's got a direction and a focus, and she is undeterred. And so, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you really can plug those descriptors into any season for Rosemary, but I really do feel like she's fired up at the beginning of this season. And of course, she's taken over Lee's office and kind of like moved into the space. And so that's been a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun for the two of us to play with. And what does that do to a marriage when you're living together and working together in such close proximity all the time? Like, when do you get a break?
My wife is working from the house right now, and I was asking for her to spend more time at home for years, and now I can't get rid of her. She's always here, always. I actually had to say something of it. I'm like, hon, I love you. Can you go back to the office for a little while?
Kavan!
My goodness.
I know. I felt bad. I felt bad, but I think it was healthy for the marriage.
Okay, let's go back to Rosemary and Lee. I'm curious, spending so much time not only married but working together. What kind of an impact does that have on their marriage, for better or for worse, Kavan?
Well, I think that for the two of them, it's ideal because you get conflict. They're in each other's space all the time. She has such a big personality. She's always in his space. And I think Lee, much like anybody else, requires a little space for himself. So it's great for actors. It's so much fun for us to play that because we're annoyed with each other all the time. And then there's all the love on the other side. So it really, this year, I think, just in each other's space all the time, her forcing him to do stuff he doesn't want to do, it really gave us a lot of opportunities to do sort of the stuff that we enjoy doing most with these characters.
Yeah.
So there was lots of that kind of opportunity.
Pascale, I have to tell you, I think it's so wonderful that to me, it feels like Rosemary's really found her footing. Like, we've seen her do a couple different things over the years, but like, it feels like the Valley Voice has just ignited a real passion out of her. Is there like a story she's really chasing this season, or how are we going to see her passion for her career really unfold?
I think, yes, that there are stories that she is like hunting down throughout the season, but I also think you see her, she's obviously personally entangled with everyone in the town. And so how does she remain unbiased and reporting in a neutral fashion without having a hidden agenda based on her personal relationships with people? And you see her kind of stumble and bumble along as she figures that out all this season, and the strain that might cause various relationships throughout the season, which I thought that was very interesting to see that happen, because we haven't seen that before with Rosemary. And yeah, I mean, she's hunting down the stories, and they change throughout the season to kind of push the story along, but she's nosy.
I was going to say she's got a nose for news. I love it.
Nose for news.
And I'd be remiss to sit here and not bring this up. And Kavan and Pascale, we have joked in the past that I feel so terrible that I keep asking you guys this question, but I'm hoping that we'll get some resolution in season 9. You know, fans really love Rosemary. They really love Lee. And I think they would really love to see them as parents. However that story comes about, not our business, but I think fans nonetheless would love to see them as mom and dad. Can you tease if we're going to get some sort of closure or resolution to that question this season?
Well, we've been asked that question so many times, and by you also so many times, and we've given so many answers to that question in an attempt to try and appease people. But what do we say this time? Like, what do we say that's concrete and reliable this time without any kind of tease?
I really think what I would say is I really think fans just need to come along and go for the ride with the Coulters this season. And it's going to take you on lots of twists and turns, and they're going to be unexpected. And I think that's the best way we can answer that is that's it. That's it.
I'll go one further than that. I'd say that at the end of the season, both Pascale and I are happy with where the characters are going. We're quite content with the storyline for Rosie and Lee.
Okay. Well, whatever that means, I guess I'm happy if they're happy. And I do hope that we get some sort of closure to that storyline. Because again, I don't want to have to ask you this when we're here next year promoting season 10.
I agree.
My final question for Kavan and Pascale, you know, as two actors who have played a couple who is so steady in their marriage for seasons, I'm curious if you have advice for a new couple on the show, obviously Elizabeth and Lucas. What would Rosemary and Lee's advice be to this new couple as they're sort of on their journey to finding, I don't know, eternal bliss like you two have found your characters?
Something about
is that what you
tacks, I'm
describe
sure.
what we have?
Yeah.
Eternal bliss.
Definitely brass tacks.
Yeah, just get down to the brass tacks.
Yeah,
I would say, guys.
Yeah, don't listen to anybody's advice. Certainly not Lee and Rosemary. They've been known to give bad advice over and over again. So go to somebody else for advice.
I would say the advice that Lee and Rosemary have to give probably doesn't fit the mold of any other relationship.
Exactly. It works for them, but I don't think it's a normal relationship that way.
But you know what? I think it was Rosemary, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this was a minute ago, but I think it was Rosemary who encouraged Elizabeth to accept Lucas's invitation to go to Union City to that book reading event. So maybe that set us on the right path.
Great. Happy to take
Let's
credit
go with that.
I love it.
Lucas,
I love it. Okay.
All Rosemary. She just orchestrated the whole thing.
Erin, was that the Virginia Woolf reading? Is that the one you're referring to?
Yes, good memory.
Oh, I've been brushing up on my When Calls the Heart clips as we get closer to season 9. And yes, I do believe that was Rosemary, and I appreciate that she leaned into her gut instinct and obviously paid off. I think that that's sweet.
I think Rosemary was really just excited to pick out your outfits for that trip. That's why she was really pushing for that. Let's get the outfits going.
Well, Andrea, I want to pivot over to you. Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. You know, I don't want to start off on a bummer note, but you know, I really felt for Faith in the season 8 finale. That Stagecoach pushes away, and Faith kind of says to Fiona, like, part of me was really hoping that Carson would still be standing there. So is our girl heartbroken going into season 9? Like, how's Faith doing?
Whew, that was a tough scene. I think right up until that bitter last moment, Faith wasn't sure if Carson would actually be getting on the Stagecoach or not. So when he pulled away, she was half expecting him to maybe still be there. But no, these characters have different journeys. They need to separate. They need to follow their hearts right now. Obviously, Faith's heart is telling her to be in Hope Valley, where she loves working, where she loves providing medical assistance for everybody in the community. And Carson has to go off, do his thing. Surgical skills have to be honed in on. So yeah, they're separating. It's good. but yeah, there's some heartache that has to be contended with at the same time. And of course, Faith isn't really a character that's generally good at dealing with her own feelings. She tends to bottle things up quite a bit. So yeah, we're going to see that play out, especially at the beginning of the 9th season.
I mean, how is she navigating all of that? The inheritance of running the infirmary all by herself, and then also having to deal with, all these like really complicated emotions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a bit of a shock. She is standing on her own 2 feet. She's the sole doctor in town. Of course, she has Molly by her side, and she's wonderful. But there's a lot riding on her shoulders this year. She's got a lot to prove. And of course, she also wants to make sure that the infirmary doesn't fall behind technologically speaking. So she's a hardworking girl. She was known as a nurse in town, and now she wants to prove herself as the doctor. So yes, a lot going on career-wise. But will she be able to open up her heart again? I don't know. I'd never say never, kind of like Erin said.
I mean, that was my next question. I mean, do you think it's a priority for Faith to, kind of pick up the pieces from where she ended season 8 and maybe find new love in season 9?
I do think it's absolutely a possibility. I think she would be receptive to that idea, but again, she's pushing everything off to the side and she's focusing on the doctor stuff at the moment. But yeah, is she a character who kind of needs that in her life? I would argue probably, but we'll see.
You've given her track record.
What'd you say, Pascale?
I said, give her a track record.
Given a rocky track record.
A lot of like sparks of romance.
There have been some moments. She's had some moments. Yeah, but I think I do love that this character is career focused. I love that she loves helping people. But yeah, the fact that she represses a lot, it's fun to play. There are some fun moments where things bubble to the surface and she has to contend with those feelings. So yeah, it's fun.
Well, listen, I love following along on social media with the Hardys, and I try to, tune into what they're chattering, whispering about. And after the season 8 finale, Faith and Nathan have a really lovely scene together where she's, tending to his hand. A lot of Hardys were kind of intimating like this could be a really good couple. Have you seen those conversations, and what do you think? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I saw those conversations. I remember when we were filming that scene thinking that people could potentially read into it the way that I guess they did. But I actually think that was just a nice, tender-hearted scene between 2 people who've gone through something quite similar, and they're both mending broken hearts. So I just thought it was a nice little check-in with one another. And that's kind of what this show's all about, just standing by your fellow citizens, being there, extending a helping hand when need be, or in his case, a wounded hand. And
oh, so good. What a soundbite, Andrea.
The wounded hand.
Yeah.
You want to answer my questions from now on?
Yeah.
Well, I just need to make sure I include brass tacks in here somewhere.
Please do.
What can I say? Hearts call, and there's a lot of brass tacks this season.
Beautiful. I guess my final question, I mean, are we going to see at least Faith and Nathan maybe developing their friendship, more shared scenes in season 9?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of potential for crossover between an overlap storyline-wise between these characters. They're first responders. They always put others' needs ahead of their own. And they both confront danger on a daily basis in different ways. So absolutely, there's some room for overlap and growth. And I think they're 2 characters that do, as I've said, they have a bit of a similar history with their emotions, their feelings, their hearts. So yeah, there's always the potential.
My goodness. Okay, we'll have to stay tuned. I can't wait to see what happens because I'm always rooting for Faith and her happiness.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I want to go over to Judge Bill Avery, Jack Wagner.
Yes, hi. How you doing?
Hi. I'm so
I love
excited.
all the questions. First of all the questions that you've asked, that you kind of ask at the beginning of every year. That's what I love about this show, is because as I hear you ask the questions, I know I can tell you that the onion gets peeled back on all of these questions for every character and every couple. And you're spot on with your questions. I can just tell the audience, I'll speak for everybody, that they get peeled back beautifully this year. And by the end of the season, there's this real, resolution to the obstacles that all these characters face. So there you go.
That is so wonderful to hear, because I truly, it's such a joy covering this show, and I love being on the precipice of a season, and then season 5, I'm like, oh my gosh, that just happened, and we sort of hinted to that, and then by the time it's the season finale, it's like, oh my gosh, you guys just blew the lid off. And I will ask you about the season finale, but Jack, I want to pivot back to you. Okay. Bill Avery, he's always got his hand in a million different things, and I believe he's considering running for mayor. Is that right? Like, where do we find him in season 9?
Yeah, we pick it up right there, right in this mayor race, and Lee's in there, and Bill, and that was the fun part for this this arc of this beginning of the year was actually working with Kavan as two guys that are kind of like a little disgruntled in how things are going, and curmudgeon-y, and that's kind of the fun part of these characters, and how it all unfolds. We get to sit in our curmudgeonness, if that's a word. So yeah.
Well, if Rosemary's got a nose for news, I feel like Bill has a real sensibility when it comes to trouble coming to town. He knows how to sniff out the bad guys, and he knows how to handle business, if that sort of makes sense. Is he going to be dealing with some complicated matters this season, as different broody characters come in and out of town?
Yeah, 100%. And this has really been a really nice year for me as an actor, because I've had a lot of diversified storylines. I'm really, really glad about that. I got to work actually with Andrea Faith. We did some stuff, and we were able to find some comedy and some pretty serious dialogue and situations, and jumped in with Kavan and Pascale, and trying to solve a crime, and how you bring the newspaper in and everybody wants to get involved. But that's the part of being the judge and former sheriff and coming from the Mounties is he's a structured sort of disciplinarian by the book, black and white thinker. But the real fun part for me is humanizing him through all of the problems he faces and how he deals with them, right? So that's where the comedy comes in, and the fun part of the show, and I think, and also sort of the loving part of this character that we didn't really understand when he first came on.
And when Bill is not out there handling business and making sure that everybody in Hope Valley is safe, there have been some wonderful Bill moments over the years where we really see his softer and his tender side, whether it's being with Molly, his blossoming romance with Molly that I thought was maybe gonna take off, or little moments with little Jack. Can you tease what's in store for Bill's personal life in season 9?
It's just like Bill's busy. Bill's busy. That's about, he's just busy. He's busy getting his nose in everybody's business and trying to, be the patriarch of his town and clean up messes and, assert himself. But I think to speak to that, Erin and I had a scene towards the end of the year that we had a very unexpected, emotional scene. It really wasn't written that way, but that's how it unfolded. And Baby Jack was part of that. And it seems like for the past few seasons, that's always been, there's been that one scene with Elizabeth and Bill that have really been heart-wrenching. And, we had another one this year, I would say, wouldn't you, Erin?
I would absolutely say that. And it snuck up on me. I wasn't expecting it. And actually, it's always so lovely when someone you've been working with for a long time surprises you. And I find that constantly with our cast, but in this scene in particular, I feel like Jack just showed up and bared his soul in a way that immediately, cue Waterworks, I was just really affected by what he brought to set that day. It was really very vulnerable. And our viewers are really going to appreciate that, I think.
Oh, thank you. Same to you. It was, it's such a give and take. And as Erin spoke to the entire cast, it's, I've been around longer than anybody. I'm the oldest, and, this cast is really special. Everybody is collaborative. The egos are all in check, clearly, except for Kavan. And, so it's just such a, we really do get along and like each other and work hard at making this a very, very feel-good show, as well as a dramatic show and a romantic show and a fun, funny show.
Well, I have no doubt that season 9 is absolutely just going to set the bar in terms of giving us all the feels and also all the romance and all those just moments that we come back to When Calls the Heart for season after season. And with that, just teased a moment that sounds so tender and emotional that is not to be missed. I want to go around to everybody, and I would love to know if you can tease one moment in season 9 that you're so most excited for the Hardys to see. Erin, let's start with you.
Oh, one moment is so hard to narrow down. Really, this is a tough one. I have a scene with Pascale that is a personal favorite of mine this season. And I'm trying to think what I can say other than it's just a really beautiful, loving, supportive scene that celebrates female friendship and their history together. And I love Pascale, obviously, and I love the relationship that Elizabeth and Rosemary they have together. And I'm just really excited for people to see that scene.
Pascale, you know exactly the scene that Erin's referring to?
Well, for a while there, I was a bit confused. I'll be honest. I was like, which one is which one? We had so many scenes.
Yes. Okay. Fair.
I know which one she's talking about. And yes, it was. I mean, it is, and it was really special to film, and it is a special scene, and I can't wait for people to see it.
Okay. Is there one separate from that you are most excited for fans to see?
Yeah, there's a scene. I think it's in the finale. And I just think it's a scene with so much overflowing joy and exuberance. I think all the Hardys will like leap out of their seats when they see it, and they'll be like jumping up and down, so excited. And so I'm very excited for that scene.
And is that a Lee and Rosemary moment?
Well, you'll have to wait and find out.
Okay, good tease. Kavan, do you have any idea what Pascale is referring to there? Or do you have a favorite scene that stands out?
Well, I think I know the one she's talking about. And if we're on the same page, that's my choice too, by far. It's a very joyful moment. It's kind of unbridled and raw and fun. So I hope people stick around and enjoy that one. I think it was so much fun to do, and I think people are going to love it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Andrea Brooks, favorite moment you're most excited for the Hardys to see?
It's so hard to pick. I'll probably give you the wrong answer. First of all, I love the group scenes. I always say this, but there are some fun, festive moments that include everyone this year that are always personal favorites of mine. But there's one season that I also think is in the finale for Faith, where she's overwhelmed with a number of things. She's got a lot on her mind, and she just has this kind of brutally honest conversation with another character. And it ended up being kind of meaningful and interesting and kind of a nice way to cap off the season. So yeah, I'd say there's an emotional moment for Faith coming up.
Okay. And you said finale?
In the finale, yeah.
Finale. Wow, this finale
is just chock-a-block full.
Okay, Chris?
Well, Lucas decides to do Ned's taxes this year.
Brass taxes?
Yeah, he just gets right down to it. And it's actually riveting. You'd think it's not, but it's going to be great. So that's one. But another one I'll toss out there. That doesn't happen, by the way. I'm sure everyone knows. But just to be there. There's a scene with Lucas and Little Jack that I really like. Possibly some other people. But I think it's just really sweet. I don't want to give too much away about it, but Lucas and Little Jack end up in a I think a place of kind of like good buddies, and Lucas kind of leans on Little Jack in a way, and he comes through for him, and I just think it's very, very tender and endearing. So I'd say that's my favorite. But then there's also this really great scene. I'm just gonna add another one. 3. One of them was fake too, where Lucas and Nathan get to have some fun together and be a bit competitive with one another in a non-suitor type fashion. They're not vying for Elizabeth anymore, but they still get to exercise that competitive thread. And one of them will have to lick their wounds, but it ends up being in a very sweet manner, and I'm happy that it plays out the way that it does. So.
Oh my God, that was such a solid tease, Chris. We got so many moments there to look forward to. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Jack, we'll end with you. Is there one moment in season 9 that you're just so delighted to share with the Hardys?
Well, other than what I spoke to, the scene with Erin and Bill and Elizabeth, but Bill beats up a younger dude. Yes. Yes. I love winning fights on television.
They still got it.
Tell me more. What happened?
Listen, I'm not going to get into detail, okay? But just don't mess with Judge Bill Avery, okay? Kapow.
I want a t-shirt that says that. Don't mess with Bill Avery.
Kapow.
Kapow, right, all right. We'll get those made up.
Before we say goodbye, any message to the Hardys, as we go into season 9? Everybody?
I'll start with a big, huge load of gratitude from me, okay? That's as far as I can go. Blessings to all, and thank you so much for the love and support for this show and us as actors.
So lovely. Yeah, I echo that. And I would also say that, we really do get along so well, and we love this show and we love getting to tell these stories. And the reason we get to keep coming back year after year is because the Hardys continue supporting us. So I hope that they will come along for the journey of season 9 and tell their friends and keep watching, because we'd all really love to be back for a season 10.
Right.
I think, right? Wouldn't we all love to be back?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I think I have joked individually with every single one of you that I am fully expecting When Calls the Heart season 75. I need this show to continue. Becoming grandparents, just like a million people running in Hope Valley. This show is just magic. It truly is. And I, for one, am so grateful that you guys are giving us such a rich and fulfilling season 9. Hardys, you cannot miss it. This Sunday, March 6th, 8 p.m. Hallmark channel. I will be tweeting along #Hardys. Will you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
Amazing.
And Deidre, a big thank you for your investment in this show and knowing it so well. It makes interviewing unbelievably comfortable and really great. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. Truly. You guys are just, like I said before, you guys are a magical group and you deliver so many incredible moments on television. So Sunday, everybody, do not miss it. #Hardys. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Hardys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hardys.
Everybody.
Thanks, Deidre. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.